Hello, this is Tarregor. This video is a Twitch stream that was not edited, so it's going to look like a Twitch stream. Welcome to my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. The design direction of my vision of Classic Plus is a substantial different from current retail WoWs, Circus Shadowlands, and Dragonflight, and in private servers, Vanilla Plus and Turo WoW. This is partially because it aims to fix Vanilla WoW's major problems first, flesh out and polish what is already there second, and add new content third. This is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. This playlist includes a video on world buff changes. That is section, if you don't want to actually watch a video, you just want to read your document, then that's section, world buff changes, 4.0.10. So yeah, you can just go read that section if you don't want to actually watch that video. The link to the design document is in my channel's about page. Or the description, I forget which. Anyway, this part, the document displays my vision of WoW Classic Plus, and the document's version number is version 1.5.17. All versions of this document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of World of Warcraft. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of WoW Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introductory video in this playlist, or read the document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document, again, is my channel's about page. Okay, it is all about page. That, and I do not have a team of people or however working with me to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design as far, and it ain't done yet. Okay, now, general buffs and debuff changes. First off, as I already told you, the world buff changes in particular are in a different video. Well, most of them anyway. The rest of them are here. Now, first off, as mentioned in section number 3.0.8, process on use changes, which was its own video that I already made a video on, further back in the playlist. All temporarily subject creatures that are not a Felguard, Infernal, Doomguard, or Quest NPC, these will be unable to be targeted by all buffs, excluding heal over time effects, power word shield, and those of the temporarily subject creature in question. Casted by the creature in question, to use better semantics. That I'll have less people ask you questions. All taunts will have diminishing returns on the typical diminishing return timer, not only in such a manner that your taunts cause diminishing returns to your later taunts, but also in such a manner that other people's taunts cause diminishing returns for your later taunts, and vice versa. Growl, Pet, Torment, and Suffering do not count as taunts in this particular case. This changes here so that you cannot just use a taunt rotation instead of actually getting aggro on a boss. Dots and HOTS will be revamped so that reapplying them at a time that is not right after their tick will not make it take longer before they tick, unless, of course, that was already the case. I forget if it was or not. This would, among other things, make it easy to raid as a rest druid and slightly increase the damage output of damage warriors. Hot effect stacking, namely having more than one effect on a guy at once, which effect overrides which, this will be treated as it was during late Burning Crusade. This will make it be much more fun to raid as a rest druid and make them be much more desirable raids as well. If my memory serves me wrong, it'll instead be treated as it was during the late Wrath. All non-zone specific buffs and debuffs no longer work. Basically, I don't want people to have to worry about having multiple rejuvenations from multiple druids on them at a time. Basically, I don't want people to not be able to have multiple rejuvenations on from multiple druids at a time, for example. Anyway, all non-zone specific buffs and debuffs no longer wear off temporarily or not when you leave or enter a zone except for stated otherwise in this document. Debuffs/debuffs were back in vanilla or removed by technical limitation that does not need to exist anymore. Buff durations will tick down when you're logged out so that you can play your main character without worry while you're waiting for a raid and without needing a chrono boon displacer. And this way you also want to worry about logging out between or during trash pulls and raids, which I know my guild did back in Classic, so that you can parse better during boss fights. If it was not already the case, then you combine totals of all flat damage reductions and increases, including for non-physical damage, as well as the necessity debuffs such as Blessed and actually ready curse of weakness, but not blocking, that is, the avoidance type blocking, will never cause the damage that will be taken by an attack to be reduced by more than half overall. A damage value can be reduced by up to 50% by one flat damage reduction, and then be further reduced by up to a maximum of a total of 75% by another flat damage reduction, then be further reduced by up to 87.5% by a third source of flat damage reduction, and so on. Percentage damage reductions will be separate from this cap, In such a manner, the defensive stance and shield wall and stone skin tome plus force of will reduce physical damage taken by a maximum of 94.375%. By themselves, anyway. Otherwise, flat damage reduction would be overpowered. Would probably be overpowered. Another change. To prevent exploits, HOTS will not heal you while you're logged out if it wasn't already the case. All NPCs will not respawn to being taunted, nor to having been taunted, while the taunter is immune to physical damage, so you will not be able to do a limited vulnerability potion plus challenging slash roll rotation to AoE down a raid boss and its ads without worrying about 300 damage taken for several seconds. For like, 10.5 seconds or some shit. Anyway, Scorpion Sting and Vindication will stack with each other and all other minus stat debuffs. Buff stacking shall be changed as such. These changes will completely replace the means by which buff stacks in vanilla WoW, possibly excluding Category J buffs. Category A buffs shall include player-casted buffs, such as Blood Pact, Mark of Wild, Greater Bloods, and Sanctuary, Battle Shout, Totems, and etc. These will all stack with each other as they had before in patch 1.12.2, except for otherwise stated in its design document. Category B buffs. These will be ordinary potions, scrolls, and type B roll buffs, such as all scrolls, all potions, and all elixirs. But only the ones that have an effect that lasts for longer than 1 minute and are not elemental protection potions or frozen runes. You may only have one of these active at a time. Category C buffs. These are short potions, such as free action potions, living action potions, and restorative potions, as well as various non-potions, such as fish liver oil, but not things that apply heal overtime and /or mana overtime effects, such as Razor Lash Root, nor things such that health stones share a cooldown with. You may only have one of these at a time. Speaking of which, where is it? Health stones will share a cooldown with all of these things, but only these things. All these things will share a cooldown with each other, and only each other. These are health stones, elemental protection potions, frozen runes, battle standards, Stratful, Stormwind, and Stranglethorn Veil, Holy Water. Stormwind, Holy Water is new, and it's like Stratful, Holy Water, not as good, if I recall correctly. Off the top of my head. Dark Runes, Demonic Runes, Whipper Root, Tubers, Night Dragon Breath, Crystal Sword, Razor Lash Root, Lily Root, Crystal Basilisk Spines, Specialty, Loveful, Cinderbrations, Mechanical Breaches, Magic Dust, which is sadly nerfed, by the way. See that in a different video. Magic Candle, and Unconscious Stig Rat. Category D buffs. These shall be elemental protection potions and frozen rooms. You may only have one of these active at a time. This is not the same as sharing the cooldown of health stones, by the way. This is whether or not it stacks. Category E buffs. Flasks. You may only have one of these at a time because of fucking course. Category F buffs. Well-fed and beverage buffs. You may only have one of these at a time. By the way, off the top of my head, Wind Blossom Berry's got his well-fed food now. If it didn't before, I forget if it did. Anyway, Category G buffs. These are Type A world buffs. If you didn't actually watch a world buff video, this basically means world buffs that are not portable, such as Onyxia Heads and Heart of Hakar, but not Juju's and Blasted Lands buffs. Those are portable. Anyway, Type A world buffs. You may only have one of these at a time. This notably excludes Renhead because of some exceptions that I mentioned in the world buffs video. Type H buffs. Category H buffs. These are cosmetic buffs. Hey, wait a second. Huh. Oh yeah, Type B world buffs. I already mentioned Type B world buffs here. And yeah, like I said earlier, Type B world buffs are the portable world buffs. Type B world buffs count as Category B buffs. Type A world buffs count as Category G buffs. Category H buffs are cosmetic buffs. They'll stack like you did in vanilla, except getting a huge rat howls and pumpkin treat will count as Category F buff. That is a well-fed / beverage buff, instead of counting as a Category H buff. Category I buffs are substitutes cooldown of health stones. These will all stack with each other. And then Category J buffs are everything else. On a related note, the sources of Type C and D buffs, of Category C and D buffs, that is, short potions and such and elemental protection potions, as well as health and mana potions and such, but not stuff that shares a cooldown of health stones, these will all share a cooldown with each other. Next up, all armor reduction debuffs will be categories and such if / was not the case before. Category A armor reduction debuffs will be Thunder Armor / Exposed Armor. Only. Category B armor reduction debuffs will be Fairy Fire, Curse of Recklessness, and similar item effects such as Stabbing the Longsword and Glowing Wax Stick. Category C armor reduction debuffs will be Torn Armor only. That is a new debuff that is inflicted by hunted pets whose hunters have actually spec deeply into Beast Mastery. Debuffs from one category of armor reduction debuff will always overwrite debuffs from the same armor reduction debuff category, barring weaker spells not applying over greater spells. And these will always stack up all debuffs from different armor reduction debuff categories for a maximum total of one category A armor reduction debuff, one category B armor reduction debuff, and one category C armor reduction debuff on the same foe. As an exception, Recklessness will always be overwritten by Fairy Fire and vice versa, and as mentioned before elsewhere, Exposed Armor will always overwrite Thunder Armor. Hey, wait a second. Is that an outdated change? If the target is afflicted by Exposed Armor, then Thunder Armor will inflict no debuff upon the target, but it will still generate threat. Okay. I made sure that was actually the case. Good. And finally, the buff limit and debuff limit will be increased to a shared limit of 255. So, like, if you have 255 buffs on you, then debuffs will start overriding buffs. That is, the debuffs that are on you, and not from you, but the ones on you, where not those debuffs came from. So yeah, they'll be shared. And yeah, that's all I got for buff/debuff changes. Thanks for watching.